everybody. Welcome back to the Future Collector Car Show at the Polo Field at WestWorld of Scottsdale. So a lot of great cars, and I call it a Skittles variety of colors. This yellow stood out to me for a number of reasons, as you can tell, but the car actually has a really cool story behind it. And I'm here with the owner, Dennis. So Dennis, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. This is a 1973 Mazda RX-2. It's a little rear-wheel drive compact car that I admittedly don't think I've ever seen one in real life until today. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. And come to find out, this car actually has a really long-standing history with Dennis. He went through a basically 20-year restoration process, including acquiring the car around 2004, collecting parts for 15 years, and then restoring it over the course of about 2 years. So I'm kind of speechless, Dennis. Tell me, what was it about this car that kept you so committed that you wanted to put it through that entire process?
Wow. Well, back in my younger days, I was a fabricator and I built off-road cars. Now for like the Baja 1000 and it was biggest arena races and that. And in the later years after doing that, I worked for Team Mazda, and we did the rotary trucks for the Mickey Thompson circuit and that. So that's how I got the bug for the rotaries,
right?
Was from that.
Yeah. And so the car, as I understand it, you can see Dennis's documentation here covers an entire scrapbook. But this thing basically started out as what people call a rolling shell. Had no keys, no title, no engine, no transmission. And basically, what you see here is the product of that entire complete custom build. One of my favorite things about it, obviously I alluded to earlier, is the color. Tell me about that. It's actually a Lexus-derived color?
Yes, it's a special order Lexus color, 2018. It's called Flare Yellow. And when they debuted the LC500, they made that was the show car that they had at the auto show, and it was in this color. And they only made 100 of them from the factory in this color.
Awesome. It is stunning, and it's too bad the sun isn't out here to really make it pop, because this color definitely does. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about what makes it go. I mean, because it's one thing to have a good-looking show car, but it's a completely different thing to have one that has the go to match its show. So I know you've done some suspension stuff. It's got ground control suspension. Tell me what's going on under the hood and the transmission.
Well, the engine and transmission was a motor swap from a rotary truck. So it's a 73 car, but it's a 74 motor. And the engine was rebuilt by Mazda Tricks in Signal Hill, and they did a street port. And then I got the intake and carburetor from Racing Beat, which they matched to the build of the motor. So it has a street port Holley 600 carburetor on there. Yeah, it's a custom Racing Beat road race header on there, and it's got ceramic coating. It's a titanium color, which is really cool.
Yeah,
and it's
stunning
from front to back. So all the way to the muffler is the ceramic coated.
Wow, that's what you call no expense spared, detail oriented. So I have to ask, last but not least, what's next? I mean, can you honestly ever say this car is done 20 years later, or is there still a few things that you want to tinker around with?
I think the things I still need to tinker around with is it has some electrical gremlins. So the wiring, I think, needs a little bit of help in a few areas.
Yeah.
I think that's about the only thing I would do to it. I mean, there are some small things.
Right. But for right now, it's a solid driver. It's a stunning showpiece. And if you haven't checked it out, he actually has awards in the back window from at least 3 other shows that he's taken home hardware from. So super great car, Dennis. Thanks for bringing it out today.
Hey, thanks for...
And looking forward to seeing this thing around the road.